Hey, welcome everybody to the GEG Ohio Google Educator Group meeting for November of 2023. So excited to be learning with you here today. A little bit of housekeeping before we dive on into things here today. First of all, these meetings are monthly meetings, typically monthly meetings, where we take a look at everything new in Google from the last month as it applies to education. We share Google tips and tricks, take questions and answers, and take a look at everything that has come out new in the last month. Now, this is GEG Ohio, but if you're not from Ohio, no worries at all. We're happy to have anybody join us. As long as you have an interest in using Google tools in school, we want to learn with you. So thanks for being here. Quick introduction. So hi, my name is Eric Kurtz. I'm a technology coach or a technology integration specialist for the Stark County Educational Service Center, specifically for Spark. That's the ITC, the Information Technology Center here. We serve about 35 school districts up in Northeast Ohio. And I'm joined today by Denny. Denny, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey all, my name's Denny, and I am the EdTech Data Coach at Adena Local Schools, which is in the Southern Ohio region. So hello all.
Well, we really appreciate you being here, Denny. Denny is one of 5 of us who help run these. We may be joined by some other folks today, but John and Stephanie and Sarah also contribute and help make all of this possible. But at the moment, you've got Denny and myself here today. So we're excited to learn with you. If you haven't pulled up the resource document yet for today, please do that. I will drop the link directly into the chat for anybody who has not had a chance to pull that up yet. Or if you're watching in the future, watching the recording, the link will be in the description below the video, but you can always get to it at our GEG Ohio website, bit.ly/GEG Ohio. That'll take you out to that website, and you can click on the monthly meetings link there. And from that, you will see a little Google spreadsheet there with all the dates. So here's today's with the agenda link and the link to the live video as well. And you can see the upcoming meetings for later on. So heads up, we will not have a meeting in December. That's normal. We typically don't do a December meeting with the holiday break. So January 31st, the last Wednesday of January, will be our next meeting after this. But throughout this session, please feel free to contribute to this document. This document is editable by anybody who is a member of our GEG Ohio community. If you're not a member, you can still leave comments on the document. So throughout this, for example, I would suggest if you know some upcoming events, do you know of a conference or a training or a virtual event that people can take part in, please add that to the upcoming events. Further down, there's a section called Show and Tell. In there, there's a community show and tell portion. Do you have something to share with the group, a neat new tool or a new blog post you've made, or something that you've learned recently that you want to share with the group? Please do that. And also there's the Q&A section at the bottom. If you've got a question, please drop that in there. We'll try to answer it, but other people who are watching as well, please feel free to add responses into any questions that show up there. And of course, please use the live chat in YouTube. I see a lot of people are already saying hello. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to drop in the chat where you're from. If you want to share what you do for your school system or whatever your role is, please feel free to share that as well. But I'm seeing lots of people, Jennifer and Peggy and Daryl and Brenda, a lot of people saying hi. So thank you so much for being here with us. All right. Well, I think that's good for the housekeeping. Let's go ahead and get on into things here today. So as we scroll on down in the agenda, we do want to mention, as always, we do have a sign-in form for these sessions. So on page 2 of the agenda, under important links, highlighted in green, you will see a sign-in form. Basically, it gives us a chance to generate certificates of attendance for you. So if you fill this out, sometime between now and the next meeting, I will run Autocrat and generate certificates for you so that you can turn in these hours for professional development. Next up, we do have the group updates. Always want to encourage you to join our Google group that we have set up for this particular group. GEG Ohio has its own Google, 500 members. This is a wonderful way to be able to stay in touch with people in between our meetings. If you've got a question, if you've got a comment, if you know of a neat upcoming event that you want to share, that's a wonderful way to be plugged into the 1,500 other educators that are out there, and would encourage you to join that group if you haven't. We also have a Facebook group as well, and you can jump into that at any point if you prefer. Excellent. Next up, we have the section on our upcoming events. Now, again, since this is an Ohio-based group, some of these are more Ohio-related, but we've definitely spread out a bit and we reach a lot of other people. So there's quite a few in here that are outside of just the Ohio area. The ones that I can speak to, so FETC is coming up in January, and I will be at FETC. I do have a link here to my sessions. So if you do want to click that, you can take a look at the sessions I will be presenting down at FETC. If you're going to be attending, I would encourage you to consider, I have a little spelling error there. I'll have to fix that. That's okay. And it looks like we have a number of people in the dock at the moment. It's doing a reconnection. I'll give it a moment there to reconnect. There we go. And here we go. Let me go ahead and fix that spelling error I had there. So there is a sharing document for FETC, and this is something I did last year. I'm doing again this year. If you'll be attending, I would encourage you to pop over to that document and add yourself to the list of people that are going to be attending FETC. And then you can share, for example, if you're presenting sessions, or if you're aware of any mixers or meetups, or if you've got questions related to FETC. This is just a great way for people to be able to stay in touch when they are down there at the conference in Florida. In addition to that, looks like we've got a shout out to TCEA as well. And of course, OETC here in Columbus coming up in February. I will be presenting at that as well. I do have a link there to the sessions I'll be doing for OETC. And then McCall coming up in March in Michigan. I do have sessions at that. I haven't got those posted yet, but I will be at McCall. And then I think my good friend Eric Griffith added in Brainstorm 2024 coming up in May. This is a conference that is more geared toward IT directors or IT staff, not so much curricular, more on the IT end of things. But it's a great conference. I've attended it several times and presented at it. The presentations, the call is open until January 5th for that. And oh, great, Dan must have included that Neotech has March 12th scheduled as its date this year, and call for presenters will be coming soon for that. So my goodness, so many ways for all of us to learn. I guess my question is, who is attending what? So when it comes to OETC, if we have enough people attending, I was wondering, should we try some kind of a meetup? We've done that in years past where we've, picked a location and we've all gotten together. Sometimes it's been sponsored by an organization. Other times it's been a little bit more informal. So let us know if that is something that sounds interesting. People that are either, watching live or if you're watching the recording, you can drop me an email. Let me know if that is something that you think would be valuable. If you'll be attending OETC, would we like to do a GEG Ohio meetup? Denny, are you going to be attending any of these coming up, or do you have anything to add to these upcoming events?
Yeah, I'm going to be at the OETC, so I would definitely be up for the GEG Ohio meetup. I'm doing a few sessions, a couple on AI, and then one on Canva.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Yeah, that's always a great way to get together and see folks. So we'll start mulling that around and see what options we might have for that. All right. Well, if there's anything else you guys would add to the upcoming events, please feel free to do so. Thank you to those who did add in a couple of these extra ones here. And please continue to add in other details on upcoming events that we have going on. All right. Fantastic. Well, at this point, I think we're going to go ahead and focus in on the main portion of our meeting, which is what's new in Google for Education. So, over the last month since we last met, there's been quite a number of updates. There always are. Google is just constantly rolling out new updates. So, as always, we have collected together those updates. We're not going to go through all of them, but we've picked out some here that we think are some of the highlights to take a look at. They're the ones that are bolded when you look at the dates. If you see the date bolded, those are the ones that I'm going to be speaking of. Let us know, though, if there's something that I've skipped over, if there's one that I haven't bolded that you've got a question on, or you want to share something on, please drop that in the chat or drop a comment here in the document as well. All right, well, let's go ahead and get on into the updates from last month. So the first thing was actually back at the tail end of October, because we had our meeting a little bit earlier in October than the very end. And so the tail end of October, the first one, an article Google posted about 3 new ways to check images and sources online. So this is an important topic because, especially with AI, we're seeing more and more situations where images are not necessarily what they say they are. It's becoming easier and easier to create an image or to have an image represent something that it really isn't and claim otherwise. And so Google has been trying to share ways that we can check the where images are from to see if it really is what people are saying. So, and this is not something new. We've shared about these type of tools before, but Google has done a few updates. One thing they've done is in Google image search. So if you're doing a Google search and you come across an image now, they've added a new option called About This Image. And when you click on that, it will give you more details about that particular image right there in Google image search. So let's go ahead and head over to Google Images. And let's say that let's find something that we want to search for. I think I'm going to do the famous highway shark. That's the one that I've shown before. And so the highway shark is that infamous image that claims to be a shark that is swimming on the highway because of like a really bad hurricane that flooded the highways, and so the sharks came swimming in. Now, is that accurate? Is that real? Well, certainly not. But if we weren't sure, inside of Google image search, we can now go up to the little 3 dots button, and you'll see About This Image has now been included in there. When you click on that, that's going to take you to a page where you can see information such as how a version of this image goes back at least 10 years, which is kind of interesting to be able to see how old the image is. And then further down, we get web results of web pages that include that image. And that's a great way to learn more about it. So, here, about talking about this being a fake photo, or the shark hoax is back again, don't get hooked, etc., etc. And so nice to know that Google is continuing to make it easier for people to be able to validate the authenticity of images we come across online. All right, good stuff. Let's keep on going. Next up, more help with math and science problems in search. All right, so this article from Google is letting us know that they've done some updates to the search feature in Google search, that now if you want to get help with math problems, you can do that right from Google search. You're probably familiar with how in Google search you can type in things like, if you type in the word timer, you'll actually get an interactive timer. Or if you type in like the word calculator, you'll actually get an interactive calculator. So you're probably familiar with that. Well, now Google has added the option, if you type in the word math solver, that will pull up an option to help you solve math problems. So if I come here and I type in math solver, give that a moment to pop up. There we go. So this is the new math solver search tool. And you can come here and simply type in your math problem. Or if you want, you can expand this out and it'll show you examples of the kind of problems you can type in. And you could click on one of these as your starting point if that was going to be easier. So for example, let's say I wanted to learn how to solve a system of linear equations. So I could come here and click on that. And again, I could alter it if I needed to adjust it, but it's a good way to start. That way it put the format in there, then I could fill in my own numbers if I needed to. At that point, I'll press on the little enter button here to execute this. And there we go. It is now going to work us through step by step how to solve this particular problem. So you see it's got 4 main steps that it's broken down, and each one of these steps I can click on and I can see much more details step by step by step as the problem is solved. And then of course, step 2, step 3, and then finally getting to the very end and solving our problem. So it's a great way if somebody is struggling with math and they just need a little hand holding there to take them step by step through solving a problem. You can now do that without even leaving Google search. So pretty new recent tool that Google has rolled out with that. In addition to that, they did mention you can also do this on your phone with the added benefit that if you're using your phone, you can also take a picture of the math. So instead of typing it in, if you're on your phone, you can snap a picture and then upload that picture into Google search for it to identify what that math problem is and help solve it. Then they did add one more thing in here. They mentioned about when it comes to science, they're adding almost 1,000 new 3D models for biology, chemistry, physics, astronomy, and other science topics in search. So the example they had here is a mitochondria. So if I were to come here and run a search for mitochondria, you'll see that as I scroll down, I'm now getting this 3D model of mitochondria. And if I click view diagram, I can pop that open and get a nice 3D model of that. So I guess they have added now in close to 1,000 new 3D models, allowing us to learn a whole lot more about these science topics. So that's great to see. So nice update for math and science support there in Google search. Good stuff. Peggy is saying she did not know about the Math Solver search tool. Yep, really neat to see these new features rolling out. Excellent. Oh, and Stacy said that a meetup at OETC sounds like a great idea. Thanks for sharing that. Excellent. All right. Well, let's keep on rolling. Head into November and see what were some of the November updates. So one of the first updates in November was the ability now to easily add GIFs and stickers in Google Slides. All right. Now, we've had the ability to add animated GIFs to Google Slides for a long time. We just had to kind of go the long way about it. We had to go to an animated GIF site and then find the animated GIF and then drag and drop it or download it and upload it or copy and paste it over in. Or when we were searching for an image inside of Google Slides, we had to try to add in some additional search terms like animated GIF or something like that. And it wasn't always successful. Well, this is now just baked right into Google Slides. So let's try this out. Let's pull up a slideshow here. I'll just grab a little slideshow here on glaciers. So let's say I've got the slideshow on glaciers and I want to add an animated GIF in here. It's talking about, the temperature rising and how it's melting the glacier. And so maybe I want an animated GIF of like a thermometer or something like that. Well, if I go up to the insert menu and I go down to image, I'll see GIFs and stickers as one of the options here. Give a click on that. And now I can just simply search over here. So maybe I want to search for thermometer. And now I'm getting images, GIFs that are somehow related to thermometer. This first one looks like it's a pretty good match. Give a click on that, click insert, and it should drop that right onto the slide. And it sure did. I could shrink that up a little bit, put that down in the bottom corner, for example, and now I've got a nice animated GIF to go along with my slide. Now, again, it's not that we couldn't do this before. Slides has always supported GIFs. That's always been the case. But again, it was a lot more hoops to jump through. You had to go find it and then copy and paste it or download it and upload it, or try to search with the insert image option, but it wasn't always as accurate. So this is great, being able to simply come here and run a search specifically for animated GIFs or stickers. Now, by sticker, we've got some of those that are, well, let's try one of these as well. I don't know if there's a particular, oh, this one is actually on climate change. That one's good. We could go with that one as well and drop that one in, give it a moment. And there it is. Now, you'll see with this one, the biggest difference is the transparency of it. So when you think more of a sticker, it really is an animated GIF. So it's not something totally different, but the big difference is typically it's going to have a transparency with it. So if you wanted to have an animated GIF that was transparent versus one that is solid, the sticker option is going to be typically going to have the transparency with it there. But it's great. Awesome option to have that readily available. Daryl did have a question. Daryl said, I'm guessing for students, the content will be aligned with safe search. That's a good question, Daryl. I'm not positive. If anybody has any feedback on that, if you're sure, that would be great to know what limitations there are on what's coming up here. Is it possible that something inappropriate could show up? I guess that's always possible because things can certainly slip through. But typically when Google has added these features in, they have done so with safe search turned on for those. So I don't know if that was mentioned in here or not. Maybe we should take a quick look back through it and see. Denny, do you have any feedback on that? If there's any safety measures in for the GIFs and stickers that are popping up?
I was just looking through the article. I don't see anything that specifies that, but it was a good question. So
yeah. So I guess, as always, use with care. And if you want to experiment, maybe type in a few search terms and let us know if you are able to get some GIFs and stickers that may not be school friendly. All right, good stuff. Well, let's keep on moving. So what do we have up next? Next up, Google Classroom got an update on classroom analytics. Now, heads up, before I open this one up, do note this is for Education Plus. Most of these that we've looked at so far have the icons for all of the different tiers. The free version, which is Fundamentals, Standard, Teaching and Learning, Education Plus. You'll see on most of these, all four of those icons show up. This one is something that is just for Education Plus. So heads up, this is for that paid version. Now, what this is not something new in the sense that Google's been promising this for several years now, but it has finally rolled out. And that is the ability to be able to see more detailed analytics on your students in Google Classroom. Now, it comes in two flavors. First of all, if you're a teacher, this is what it's going to look like. Now, I'm going to open up their samples here because if I open up my actual classroom, I don't want to reveal, people's names and grades and things like that. So I'm not going to open up my actual Google Classroom. We'll just look at the examples they have here. So if you're a teacher, you'll be able to go in and click on the Analytics tab to pull up information on your classes, seeing assignment completion, the average grade, how many students have been active or inactive, and then you can drill down into individual students and see, okay, so this student only has a 12% completion. Let's see what's going on here. And we can drill down into that student and get much more information on where they might be struggling, what needs to still be completed for them. So that's great. If you're a teacher, easy way to just get a quick bird's eye view over how things are going in your classes, who might be struggling, who may need some additional help to get them back on track. But it does go further than that. It also has a view for what they call education leaders. So what this would mean would be like a building principal or the curriculum director or the special ed director, people like that who want to have more of a view than just your individual class. So people can be specified, and I'll open this image up into its own tab. People can be specified as an education leader. Now, heads up, this has to be set up so nobody just automatically is going to have this access. You as the super admin, you have that access, but you need to go in as a super admin and you need to specify who is allowed to access this. And basically what this would do is allow somebody to be able to see on a much broader level, not just an individual class, but they could see for like an entire school building. So across that school building, how are all of the students doing? And then let's drill down in class by class and see, are there certain classes where students are struggling more than others? And so this gives a much broader view of the information for the entire school or the entire school district. So if you're a teacher, you'll have this automatically. You'll just be able to go into your analytics right there from your classroom. If you want to do this for education leaders, again, this does need to get set up by the administrator. And there are directions in there on how to go in and to give people this additional feature, this additional privilege to be able to view those. Now, again, this is only applying to folks who are using Education Plus, which is a good chunk of folks, but not everybody has that. So I do always like to remind folks, if that's something you don't have, there's a tool called Schoolitics, which has been around for years. They're wonderful people. They're so nice. And they have a product that has been doing pretty much this sort of stuff for several years. And it is free for teachers to use with up to 10 of their classes, which I doubt many teachers have more than 10 classes. And so the website is schoolitics.com. And then I did an overview a while back where I have a short little video and I run through. And basically it interfaces with your classroom. It, pulls the data through the classroom API, and it generates very similar charts and graphs and shows you who's not being engaged, who's not turning in work, whose grades might be struggling. It does have an option for building principles as well. That's not part of the free version. The free version is for a teacher to use. So if you're looking for an overall, I want to see the entire school building or the entire school district, you'd either have to pay for Schoolitics or you'd have to be paying for Education Plus. So either way, though, we now have some options, and that's great. Again, Schoolitics is great if you just want to try this out without Plus, but if you do have Education Plus, you should now have access to the classroom analytics there as well. Good stuff. All right. I'm going to pause here for a moment. I see some activity in the chat. Going to see if there's anything else that has popped up. Nicole was saying that she was just standing on that glacier back in September. That's fantastic. That's awesome. All right.
Hey, Eric, just in case anyone wondered, I did test the GIFs and stickers with a couple words that might bring back some sketchy pictures, and it did not bring up any queries. So,
wow.
So I feel like it might be in the safe search, but I don't see anything in the article. So.
Well, that's encouraging. And I appreciate you doing that. I didn't want to do that while sharing my screen. And so thank you for doing that off screen there. That's encouraging. Sounds like we might have safe search enabled on that. All right, good stuff. Well, let's keep on moving. What is up next? Next up, Google announced that YouTube is going to start showing labels on videos that use AI. Okay, so this goes right back to what we were just saying at the beginning of our rundown of the news about how Google is trying to help people verify the authenticity of images. Well, not just images, but also videos. So it used to be that if you wanted to believe something was true, you said, pics or it didn't happen, show me the picture. Well, that is no longer something that we can trust as much because it's very easy to Photoshop things or have AI create images. And so a lot of times now folks have been saying, well, I'll believe it if I see a video of it. Well, now that isn't even necessarily accurate because it's becoming easier and easier for AI to either create videos or to augment videos. There's a lot of tools out there that will generate videos like Runway or Pika Labs. There's a lot of them out there that you can just give them a description and it will make the video, or again, using AI to alter videos. So again, Google wanting to try to stay on top of this. They are now saying that with YouTube videos, it's okay. It's okay to have videos that have been created by AI or modified by AI, but creators are going to have to indicate that there will be a checkbox to say this is a video where AI has been used in some way, and those videos then are going to be marked as synthetic. And so basically when you go to watch a video on YouTube, there will be some kind of a icon or an indication, heads up, this video has been modified by AI. Now, how that looks, I'm not sure. It sounds like this is something that is still rolling out. I have not seen it myself. When I upload my videos, I've not seen a checkbox yet that has asked me to indicate that. So looks like this is coming, they said, in the coming months, but something to keep an eye out for, which again is really important as we talk about being able to evaluate media that we come across online. This will be one more piece in the puzzle to help a little bit with that. All right, good stuff. Let's clear up a couple of tabs and keep on moving here. Next up, another AI tool, or excuse me, not an AI tool, but a search lab tool, which is called Notes. And I can show you this in just a moment. I'll run through the basics of it, then I'll see if I can bring it up. This is something that's mobile only, so I'll have to put my phone up on the screen to show you this, but let's run through what it is. So Notes is a new experiment that's part of Search Labs. So I think I've talked about Search Labs before, that's where you can opt in to try out new features that Google has been working on. Typically, you can't do this with a school account. And so it's very possible that you'll need to use a personal account to access most of these search labs, which is what I do. I use my personal account for this. But this is a new one called Notes. And the idea is that when you're on mobile, if you come across a website that you find to be valuable or that you have some input on, there'll be the option to add notes about that website that then anybody who comes to that website would see that there are notes on it, and they could click on that and they could read through other people's notes related to that website. So in this example they're showing here, it's apparently a website about making frosting. And so if somebody were to say, hey, I'm searching for, types of frosting, notice it says 80 notes next to this particular website, meaning that 80 people have left some sort of feedback on this, and you as a user could click on that and read through other people's ideas related to it. Now, there have been tools that have done this. I know there's extensions that do that sort of thing where you can leave notes about websites and you can make them public so other people can see them. Well, Google's working at just building this right into mobile search. So let's try that out. Let me see if let me wake my phone up here, and I'll see about dragging that over here onto the screen. Hang on one second. It fell asleep. Here we go. Okay, it's back up now. So here comes my phone. There we go. Okay, so here's my phone, and I just ran a search for artificial intelligence. And so if I start scrolling down, you'll see that when I get to different web pages on artificial intelligence, it'll say if there's notes on it. Like this one says there's one or more notes. Others don't have any notes at all. It'll just have the link that says notes, which means I could leave notes on those pages, but there aren't any notes already on them. But for the one that did have something on there, if I clicked on, for the Wikipedia article here, I could click on there and I could read the notes that other people have left about this. Now, how valuable is this going to be? Well, it's going to be as valuable as the amount of people that do it. If nobody uses this tool, then no, it's obviously not going to be too helpful. But if a lot of people do start doing this, that'd be a really neat way to crowdsource feedback on websites. And so something to at least poke a stick at and try out if you're interested in testing that out on your personal account. You can sign up for that in the Search Labs, which again, like I said, I believe if I go to this on my work account, which is what I'm on right now, it just yells at me and says, Search Labs is not available for your work account. But if you follow that link to the Search Labs on a personal account, you can turn that on as from there. All right.
Hey, Eric, Peggy had a question. I don't know if you know the answer to it. Do you know if anyone monitors those?
Yeah. And so at the moment, Peggy, from what I understand, I'm not aware of a moderation feature as far as, them getting checked before they show up. But my guess is there is probably an option. Let's take a look and see if they've got, I believe there's a little note on that down here. It says, we know that quality and safety are critical and that Notes relies heavily on the protections developed over decades of bringing you reliable information. We're using a combination of algorithmic protections and human moderation to make sure Notes are safe, helpful, and relevant, and to protect against harmful and abusive content. As with all experiments, though, they're saying that, we're trying this out before bringing it to a broader audience. So it sounds like what they're saying here is it's AI's checking it. It's not probably a human that's looking at every single one of them. They've got an AI that's reading through the notes and maybe flagging some, and then it goes over to human moderation if something gets flagged. I didn't see an option in there to flag stuff myself, but that might be an option as well, that as a user, you could flag things in there as well. All right. Excellent. Well, let's keep on moving. What's up next? Speaking of AI, Google Bard has now expanded its availability to include teens. So when Google Bard first came out, that's Google's AI chat tool, it was only available for ages 18 and above. So I figured that wouldn't always be the case, that, with a tool as powerful as Bard, Google would want to find ways that we can use this in an educational setting with students. ChatGPT, for example, has a 13-year limit. You have to be 13 or above to use ChatGPT. Well, Google has now stated that Bard can be used with teens. And so what they're doing is they're basing it upon the minimum age requirement to have your own Google account. So it depends country to country. In the US, that would be age 13. But in different countries, it can vary. And so that will again be based upon, in your country, what age do you have to be to have a Google account? Well, that age you're allowed to start using Bard. Now, when a student does sign up to start using Bard, if they are under the age of 18 and the 13 to 18 range or whatever the case might be, there are some things that they're going to be greeted with. They've put together some like a video that plays that teaches them more about generative AI, and other things kick in. So for example, Bard, if you remember, has the double check response feature, and that will automatically run the first time that a teen asks a fact-based question to show them how they can use that to evaluate whether the content is accurate. Now, again, if that's not something that you remember, I know I've shown that before, but if that's not ringing a bell, if I were to go to Google Bard, and I think the example I used before was, I said, tell me about the James Webb Space Telescope. That was the example I had used the last time. And when it generates content, you're able to go to the bottom of that generation, and there's a button there that looks like the Google logo that says double check response. Well, if you click on that, what it does is Bard will take everything that it just created and it will Google each sentence one at a time to try to see, is there confirmation online that this information is accurate. If it highlights it green, then yes, it found reputable sites that confirm that information. If it colors it orange, it's saying, well, I couldn't find anything to support this, or I actually found information that seems to disagree with this. And that's good to be able to know that. In this case, all of this is coming up green, which I'm not surprised. That's a pretty non-controversial subject. But for each one of the things highlighted in green, if you click on it, it'll even tell you where to go to read more about that, to get more confirmation on that information. The point is, the very first time a teen uses Bard for a fact-based question, it will automatically run that double check feature to teach them about that. So it's not even just, a hidden away option. It'll show them right away, hey, you can do this anytime you need to make sure the information that you're getting is accurate. So they've thrown in a couple of guardrails and some onboarding to help teens have a little bit of a better understanding of generative AI before they just dive into it. Now, I have not seen this applying to education accounts yet. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe at the moment it sounds like personal Google accounts. I have not seen the go-ahead yet for schools to turn this on for under 18, but it looks like this is definitely paving the way for that. They're trying to be able to move us to a spot where teens and maybe even younger students eventually will be able to use Bard with their school accounts. All right. So thoughts on that, Denny, or did anything pop up related to that in our chat?
Yeah, I mean, it does appear that the double check shows up for me, for my school account. I just don't know if it does for students.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. So again, I think right now, this probably the ability for teens to use Bard is official now for personal accounts. Again, I don't know that I've heard anything yet about, because when they first told us about rolling out Bard for schools, they were like, do not turn this on for under 18. I haven't seen something officially telling us that it's okay now to turn it on for the under 18. So something to look at a little bit closer on that. If nothing else, this is opening up, it's paving the path toward that. All right, good stuff. All righty. Well, let's go ahead and keep on moving. Let's see what we have next here. Oh, speaking of Bard, we were already on it. Might as well, I should have just stayed there. Bard adds the ability to generate graphs from data and to show steps for solving a math problem. So we'll take a look at the graphing part of it. So they mentioned in their November 16th update, in addition to being available to more age groups, they've embedded the ability in Bard to help with math equations, very, very similar to what we saw with the search tool just a while ago. But they've also added the ability to help visualize data. So basically, Bard can now make charts from either data that you include or from data that Bard generates during the conversations. So let's try this out. Let's say I have a question, and I'll just copy and paste just to make life easier for all of us. Let's say I have a question like this, and I say, hey, can you generate a table of the top 10 most populous countries along with their populations? So I should get a table, and there it is. Excellent. So here you have the top 10 countries by population. Well, once I have that data, I can now follow up with a prompt that says, create a bar graph to represent that data. Now, normally this works. I've had a couple of times, we'll see if it works now. I've had a couple of times where Bard has had a little hiccup and said, nope, I can't help you with that. Oh, and it looks like it's doing it again right now. Okay, we may have to have it regenerate that. I'm not sure why it does that sometimes. Here, let's try to have it regenerate that and see if it gets it the second time. And if not, I'll just bring up my other account because it was working well on my personal account. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, just took a second stab at it. Again, not positive, but I've seen that happen every now and then. When I ask it the first time, it doesn't always generate the graph right away. But there it is. So yes, based upon the data that was there, it has now created a bar graph. I can download that graph as an image, or I can come down here to the bottom and say, I want to modify that. Maybe instead of a bar graph, I wanted this to be a column chart. Or maybe instead of that, I wanted it to be a line chart, or I wanted it to be a scatter plot. And so there's options there to adjust that chart before you download it as well. So that's really nice. A great way to be able to, the data that gets created or shared while we're having a conversation with Bard, we can now easily generate a graph that we can download and use in any way that we'd like to. So good stuff. Good stuff there. All right, let's keep on moving. Next up, still on the topic of AI, Google has rolled out 2 new, I guess we'll call them games, but it's basically interactive learning activities to teach about AI. There's one called See What You Say and one called Cultural Icons. I'm going to dive a little deeper into the one called See What You Say, or Say What You See, because I believe this one has a really nice application for learning how to craft our prompts better. Now, you can follow this first link to go out to the blog post to learn more about these. The blog post will give you all the details there. But I'm going to go ahead and open up Say What You See. And this is going to take me over to arts and culture. And what's going to happen when I launch this experiment is it is going to, here, I'll start up with level 1 here. It is going to give me an AI-generated image. And then it's going to ask me to create a prompt to, as best as possible, try to replicate that image. Let's go ahead and begin. It'll make more sense once we get in. So here's the first one. Okay, so that's the image. I now need to type within 120 characters a prompt that hopefully will generate an image like this. Now, I think there's a cutoff, like, it's going to tell me what percentage match. I think you have to have like a 75% match or better. And it kind of has its own way of figuring that out. So now this one, I don't know. I guess what would we say here? A pink background with a green design on top of, what would we say those are, like palm leaves, maybe? Should we say of palm leaves? Let's see. Let's try something like that. I'm not sure how accurate that is. Green palm leaves with a pink background. Yeah. Okay. We'll just see. So let's pop that in and see how it generates and how close we came to it. Oh boy, 76% match. If 75 was the cutoff, we just made it. Now, what we can do is we can refine this. We can say, I want to try that again because, maybe I could make it better. And we're getting a tip down here, maybe add some details about the size of the image, things like that. So, if we weren't, happy with this, we could, well, I guess because we got it matched, we can't. But if we fail, then we can try again. But I could hit next and move on. And now sometimes I've had this happen. I'm not sure why. Sometimes it doesn't pull up the image, which is just a weird little thing. So I don't totally get that. I've had that happen every now and then where it comes up blank and I just have to skip over it and then I'll get one. Okay, there we go. And so now, we would say like a close up, I guess this would be a close up photo of a bowl of ramen shown looking down from above the bowl. Then maybe say something like the bowl has noodles. Oh, I'm going to run out of space. An egg. We've got some pork. And we'll just say onions. I don't know if that's what's in there, but we'll try that out. The bowl. I misspelled there. There we go. Let's take a look and see how well we do on this one. Give it a moment to see what it generates there. and see how accurate. Oh, we got an 88% match. Not too bad. Not too bad. So I like this because, again, prompting, that's a skill. We need to learn how to communicate clearly with the AIs. And in this case, this gives us a good chance to practice our prompting skills. What is important? What is irrelevant? What are the key things that we need to include in there? Pretty neat tool. Nicole says she loves the instant feedback that you get with that, which is great. I agree. Denny, you said you had tried, but what did you say your issue was?
Well, I tried sort of like what you had tried. Yours worked. I don't know what I did, but my descriptors, it didn't read, and I had to try it again. I typed 5 words in describing the ramen noodles, and it gave me an 86%. So, so a very short descriptor, and I got an 86%.
Okay.
So,
All right. But again, that's important because it can just be how accurate. I mean, if it can be done in a few words, but it's very accurate, that's excellent. I like Nicole's statement that she has seen this activity done in the past where students would write a description of a monster and then give that to another set of students to draw it. Then they would compare how much their drawing matched the original, and talking about, being able to describe and communicate clearly. And Kathleen also says this can definitely help with working on descriptive language. So again, I think a great tool as we're using more and more AI to talk about the power of the prompt and creating a good prompt for the AI to work off of. Neat stuff. All right, a couple more things here. Last few, as far as the updates go, that I pulled out anyway. Google Bard is getting another update that has just come out recently to improve its ability to give answers to questions about YouTube videos. And so in the past, it's been a little hit and miss on YouTube videos. With this update, you can now ask things like provide a summary of a video, and you can put the link in for the video and get a much more accurate summary of that video without having to. What we've done in the past, we've had to go in and copy like the entire transcript and then paste the transcript in and then say, summarize this transcript. Bard is now doing a better job of being able to actually access the video, pull up that content itself, and then generate a summary from it. So that's a nice time saver. And then the next two are so new that I can't demonstrate them yet. They have not shown up for me yet. I'll check again while we're going here, but as of earlier today, they had not shown up yet. So this one was just announced yesterday, and that is creating a shareable video presentation from Google Slides. Heads up, this one is a Google Plus level tool. So this would only be if you were using the Google Plus for Workspace. But basically, the idea is we'll be able to, and I'll open this up in a new window so we can see it a little bit better perhaps. There's going to be a button, a record button in the top corner of Google Slides. And what we're going to be able to do then is do a recording of our slideshow with a little inset in the bottom corner of our webcam if we want. I believe you can turn the webcam on or off. But the point is, you could then go through your slideshow, slide by slide by slide, and give a presentation, do some instruction, whatever the case might be, tell a story, whether it's you or the students doing this, and it will record the slides. It'll record your voice, it'll record your face, and when it's all done, it'll save that to Drive, and you can then share that video with other people to be able to watch that recorded video. Now, there are so many ways to make recordings. So this is not like groundbreaking. I mean, you could use ScreenPal, you could use Screencastify, you could use Loom, you could use Nimbus. If you're on a Chromebook, you could use Screencast on a Chromebook. So there's a lot of ways to do this sort of thing, but this is nice. It's nice. It's convenient. It's easy right there from your slideshow, being able to record, save it right to your Drive, and share that out. Unfortunately, like I said, it is restricted to the Education Plus tier. So if you're not on Education Plus, again, no worries. There are a lot of fantastic screen recording tools out there, but neat to see that that at least is getting added for Education Plus users. Again, I don't think I've had that yet. I'm going to pop my Glaciers slideshow up again. And no, I am not getting that record button up there yet. So hasn't rolled out yet, but it's in the process of rolling out. And the last update would be an update to the Google Drive homepage view. Again, this has not shown up for me yet. This is for everybody. This is going to be something that everybody's going to see. But before you get caught off guard by it and get surprised, here's what's happening. So what Google's doing, and I'll open this up so we can see it a little bit better, is there, and I'll zoom in. Let me see if I can zoom in here so you guys can see this a little bit better there. What they're going to do is when you go to Google Drive, there's now going to be a new option called Home up in the top left. That's different than just My Drive. So normally when I go to my Google Drive, I start off with, My Drive, and I can scroll down through all my files. This is going to be like a customized welcome view. And so the home is going to have some of your most recently used files or files that you use often that it thinks you might want to get to, as well as some really useful drop-down chips at the top to say, okay, I'm looking for specific files. Now, nothing's going to stop you from just clicking on My Drive down here and getting back to your normal Google Drive view. But by default, it's going to go to the Home option rather than the My Drive. According to this, though, they did say there's going to be an option to choose. So as I went down through here, I noticed they said if you don't want that to be the case, you can click where it says change to My Drive instead, and it will just go back to the normal My Drive that we are used to seeing. The idea is, though, they're hoping this is more beneficial for folks who, when they go to Google Drive, instead of having to hunt for something, they're going to see right away what Google's AI thinks are the files you probably are most interested in at that moment. So be aware when that rolls out. We don't want to catch anybody off guard. Sounds like it's rolling out right now for people that are using the rapid release domain, which is the one that I've got my account on. But if you're on a scheduled release, they're not looking at this until after January 11th. So you don't have to worry till after the holidays, but that is going to be a change to Google Drive as well. All right, well, let's pause there. That's a lot of updates. A lot of things have come out. Let's do a couple things before we move on. First of all, let's look at the chat and see if there's any questions or comments that we need to address. And then also, let me know, is there anything I skipped over that we should take a closer look at before we move into show and tell? So, Denny, what are you seeing over there in the chat?
Yeah, I don't see any questions, but I did see Daryl shared a important comment about needing to deal with more and more data privacy agreements for all the tools, thinking that this is a great consolidation. So
excellent. All right, very good. Well, if anybody does have any other questions or comments, please keep doing exactly that. Drop them in the chat or add them here as comments in the document. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to our next big portion of the meeting, which is show and tell. And this is a chance for people to share, neat new tools they've come across or new projects, things like that. Denny, I'll have you go first here, and then I'll follow up after that. But sure. While you're going and while I'm going, please, folks, do what you see here. You can come in here and you can add in your own suggestions for the community show and tell. I'll make sure I get all of these approved in here so that people are able to, there we go. get those approved. So yes, please feel free to come on in and add your own resources, and we will take a look at those. Denny, did you want to share your screen and we can put that up, or did you just want me to click on the things you had put in the list?
Yeah, I could share my screen. I'll try to do it right this time. I know last time I
Hey, no
was
worries.
sharing a window, so we'll make sure entire screen.
Okay.
And let's see. Let me click on. Make sure I'm clicking on the right one.
No worries.
All right. There it is. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
I'm going to get you added in. We got the window within a window within a window is what we're
Okay.
seeing at the moment. There we go.
There we go.
Yep,
Okay.
the RIMP progress monitoring is on there.
There we go. Okay. So the first thing I had there was the illuminate your lesson. So at our school, we have smart boards in K through 5. And with that, we use Lumio, which I guess would be similar to, I'd compare it to like a Pear Deck, Nearpod, or, well, not necessarily CurryPod, because CurryPod uses AI. But it's similar to that because it allows you to engage students in the classroom with their Chromebooks or whatever device they have. So if you use Lumio, this is a presentation I created for our teachers, and it just has a series of, what is Lumio? If you're fairly new to Lumio, how to create new content, how to search content. And they've added a few new tools as well. I know you used to have to sort your materials within Google Drive, and they actually allow you to sort it within or put them in folders within Lumio now too. And Canva, you can import things from Canva, directly from Canva to Lumio as well. So if that's something you use, that resource is there. Let's see. I did create a DiffIt video. If you haven't tried DiffIt, I would strongly recommend trying, especially if you use Google tools, because the thing that intrigued me about DiffIt is that it allowed you to change the level of the text, and it created some different resources that go along with it, like vocabulary, summaries, some questions and things like that. But the really amazing thing, I think, is that it allows you to take that information and create some really dynamic activities afterwards. So whether it's with Google Slides, it could be with Google Forms, I think with Google Docs. So, and I would say there are probably, I'm guessing, but there are at least 20, maybe 30 different types of activities that you can turn that level text into. So if you haven't tried DiffIt, I would give that a shot, and then you can always check out that video for more information. And I'm sure there are a lot of other videos out there too. The third thing on the list is I was asked to create a reading improvement plan monitoring tool for our district. So I created that using a Google Sheet, and that I think I shared that a copy version of it with you. So if you click on that, you can make a copy of it. It will give you this, and then you could use this however you want. So we have some things that we monitor for our RIMPs, and we monitor the progress through the 9 weeks. And then as you enter the data, it's going to auto-populate within that graph. And then there's some extra areas where you can add notes. And you could always duplicate these if you have more than one student that you're monitoring on a RIMP. So this is something you could share with the K through, I think it's probably 4th grade, maybe even beyond this year too. So the RIMP progress monitoring tool. And then finally, the EduPop for Edu protocols. So I created this. I think I shared it out in some different forms. But Edu protocols is something that I've, over the past year, I think I went to one of John's, John Carippo. Is it Carippo?
I say John Carippo with a short I, Carippo.
Yeah, so I watched one of his presentations last year. He was one of the speakers, and I got really intrigued by the idea of Edu protocols. So that led me to create this to kind of present to our teachers. I used the movie theater theme, And I picked, I think, 6 or 7 different edu protocols just to kind of introduce our staff or our teachers to edu protocols. And then as you go to each slide, I added a director's kit, which is just a tool, suggested tool that might work best with it. A ticket to success which is if it needs a template, there's a template there. They can click the link and open that up, and blockbuster pointers. So tips that might help you getting started with that. And then at the very end, I think I added some stars of the show. So John, obviously, and then Stephanie, of course, Eric, and some of the others that are there as well. And I think that was it, right? Yep. So yeah, that's it. That's
well, excellent. I'll go ahead and pop back over to mine then. So I did see somebody had mentioned about the RIMP progress monitoring tool. Apparently, we may not have access to that. So if you want to double check the sharing settings on that, Daryl had mentioned that, and I noticed the same as well. It had indicated that. People were very interested in it, though. Lindsay had said that the RIMP monitoring plan looks interesting, especially paired with VLOOKUP. It could be amazing. So you're already inspiring Lindsay to think about how she could use that. And a lot of good feedback on DIFIT. Karen saying that it's amazing. Daryl likes how it embeds the sources as footnotes when it generates content. And then Carol also saying about how DIFIT's menu of resources is robust. So very nice. Thanks. All right. Good stuff. And yeah, I agree with you on everything you shared there. As far as edu protocols go, yes, I've enjoyed doing my active learning with Google Tools session that is based off of edu protocols. It's a really enjoyable session to do because it gets the people in the session active and, actually communicating and working together and saying, hey, this is great. This is what we need to be doing with our students. We need our students communicating, and collaborating and thinking critically. And these tools can really help support that. So good stuff. All right. And you think the RIMP is fixed now?
I think so. I
click
put
on
it
that.
in a copy. Oh, it says request access. Okay.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
I will figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Okay. Well, thanks so much for sharing those, Denny. I'll go ahead and run through mine here in just a moment, and then we'll come back around to the community ones. And so there's still time for people to add things into the community show and tell if you wish to. Before I mention mine, I will always, as always, give a shout out. Hey, I think Stephanie is joining us right now. Look at that. I was just about to run through yours, Stephanie, and you just joined. So I can let you do that. How you doing today, Stephanie?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are doing great. So glad you could pop in for a little bit here.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Of course, as always. Well, hey, so let's do this. I'll let Stephanie get settled in for just a moment. Since Sarah's not with us today, I will give a shout out that she does her weekly newsletter, the Tech You Can Do newsletter. I get that each week, I think on Tuesday morning, Monday or Tuesday, and I always look forward to getting that. Encourage people to sign up for that if you haven't. Stephanie, I'll go ahead and pull up your screen though, and you are good to go. Go ahead and start sharing.
All right. Hi, everyone. So the first thing I wanted to share is if you're a Google champion, this will take you to a website. You have to use your trainer, your Google champion email. So whatever email you use to get certified in order to see this site. And actually, Sarah put a ton of work into this site. So I just wanted to point this out that if you are a Google trainer or champion, go to this site, check it out because there's a lot of perks on here. And so I just wanted to point out that you can get a bunch of different perks for being a Google trainer. So if you're not a Google trainer, become one because it's a great community to be a part of. And I just wanted to plug that website there for you to kind of explore and sign up for some free ed tech apps, and Kami does give free access. So if you fill out this Google form, then you will get free Kami. So the directions are all on here. But again, there's so many resources on this website that Sarah created. And you can see a bunch of these different platforms that have collaborated with the Google community. And again, if you are not a Google trainer, get certified. If you have questions, please send me an email or send me a message on social media, because it is a great community to be a part of. This next one was a Spotify playlist that was just sent to me, and I just kind of liked it, so I was going to save it. If you get headaches or migraines, I'm not going to play the music because I'm afraid I'll get kicked off of YouTube, but you can kind of play these natural relief sounds and music to kind of help you overcome maybe a very difficult day. I know sometimes you can just get migraines or headaches. So this was just something that was shared with me that I thought I would share with the community. So maybe it will help you. The next share is a holiday escape room. So last year I created this Holidays Around the World escape room. And this is kind of like the answer key document. There's Google Slides here. And what happens is students go throughout the different slides. Typically, they work together in a small group of 3 to 5 students, and they are trying to solve these different problems. So some of them might be like this math kind of equation, but students will watch this video first, and then they will go through and try to figure out these different symbols to figure out the math. And students then go on to the next puzzle and the following puzzle until they completely solve the escape room. So there's a video that goes over each of the different clues, because I don't know about you, sometimes I really struggle with escape rooms. So this goes over all of the different answers and how students get to those answers. And then the slides are what you would share with your students. And then this is a Google form where they would, once you make a copy of it, the students will go in and solve using that data validation. So that way they know right away if they got the answer right or wrong. And then they try to break out of this Google form. So again, if you're just looking for something, this was middle school. So 5th through like 8th grade is what we used it for last year, was the grade range. Erin, thanks for asking that question. And then this next activity is to help with vocabulary. So if you're looking for just some ways to engage your students or use vocabulary, this is one way. So one of the things that you could do is you can have an image from an upcoming unit or an image of a vocabulary word. And then what students will do is you can either do this on the whiteboard, on Kami, on a piece of paper, wherever. And students will just kind of start to shout out what they notice. So you'll see here like flower, petal, eye, bug, insect, right? And so students are shouting it out first. And as students are saying all of these different things, you then are going to be writing them down. So first, what I usually do is students do this first activity by themselves, where they just kind of label everything that they notice about the picture by themselves. And then they'll pair up and they'll share those comments with a neighbor, what they've noticed. And then they kind of compare and contrast what each other have said. After that, you'll do like a whole class discussion with the image. And what I like to do during that whole class discussion is begin to add synonyms. So you'll kind of say like bug. Well, another word for bug is insect. And so then you're quickly like growing your students' vocabulary as they are kind of going through the image and making notes of what they see and helping them build that knowledge of what they'll need for that upcoming unit. So again, you can kind of see here is an example of like an answer of a whole group discussion, where again, like some students might say bee, and then you kind of are like, well, it's an insect too, right? And so you're just having that conversation. After the whole group discussion, then students are going to create, using the sentence stems, a paragraph based on that image. So they're going to kind of take like insects are, you can kind of use this graphic to help them. But then they're able to kind of say like, I confer that bees are ... because. And so because of the image and the brainstorm that you did together, there should be able to create a stronger paragraph for what they just learned about. And then this last one, I've been reading, let me go ahead and open it. This math book, and it's fantastic. Now I can't even think of the name. Oh my gosh. But it's this math book that makes thinking like visible. And so students, what they do is it has like 4 different corners. So I just use Google Sheets to create this. And what happens is then you'll come in here and you'll give an example of it solved. And then I usually will put like step-by-step tips or video. And then what students do is they complete an example and then they create their own example based on your example and helpful hints to help them. And so I just really like the setup of this. So I just wanted to share this template with you all. And I think it could be used for any subject. Again, like the book that I was reading was focused on math. But again, I'm like, you could probably use this with science. You might just have to change some of the wording for it to work for your needs. Those are all of my shares for November.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you so very much. As always, everybody always appreciates the things you have to share, and that was perfectly timed for you to jump in and share those. Thank you so much, Stephanie. A lot of good feedback in the chat. People are always appreciative. All right, let's go ahead and I'll run through mine real quick as far as my show and tell goes. So a couple of things. First thing I'll mention is I am trying to get back to my EdTech links of the week. I was doing a really good job of sharing these out last school year, and then my goodness, this fall it just it got crazy and I fell off doing that. So heads up, I should be back on track. Going to try each week to share my links of the week. I did it last week, so I'm 1 for 1 so far. But you can always get to those where there'll be a short recorded video where I run through some neat links that I came across from around the internet, as well as anything that I've updated on my blog. And of course, the full link you can always get to at bit.ly/CAA-links for Control-Alt-Achieve links. And this will have all of the ones going back, for a long time. And you can get to all of those videos and all of those resources there. So should be doing better with that. Having said that, what is new? What new things do I have to share? So one of the things I'm doing is a end of year series called Cool Tools 2023. Last year I did a end of year series, and I think it was the 12 Days of Chromeness was the one I did last year, where I talked about neat features of Google Chrome and tied it to, the 8 days or the 12 days of Christmas, but made it the 12 days of Chromeness and had a fun time with that. This year, the theme I'm going with is cool tools instead. And so what's going to happen is all throughout December, starting on December 1st and going through December 24th, sort of like an EdTech Advent calendar, I'll be sharing one cool tool per day. I've decided to go with artificial intelligence tools as the theme this year, since those are so hot. Everybody is, everything is AI related. So that'll be the idea, is an AI tool or an AI resource every day for 24 days in a row. So to get to that, you can certainly just go to the blog post that I've got here. bit.ly/cool-tools-23 will get you there. That'll take you to this blog post. And every day you could just scroll down and you can get the link to the new one that day. Or I will be posting a new blog post every day to go along with these. So that would work. And I've got a slideshow as well. If you prefer to do the slideshow route, there's a slideshow that's linked in here. At the moment, of course, there's nothing in it yet because we haven't started till December 1st, but these will all become clickable. So each day you can come in and click on a different snowflake, and day by day, those will become active, and you'll be able to check out all of those tools. So I'm looking forward to sharing some of these. I'm guarantee you, though, I'm going to not include every tool. That's only 24 days. So please let me know. What am I missing? As this goes on, if I don't mention a tool that you think is valuable, please send me an email, or even preemptively, if there's a tool that you think had better be on the list. I've got them pretty much all set, but I can still tweak things. So if you send me a really cool tool between now and the end of it, I might swap one of mine out with another one if you send me something that I'm really excited about there. So anyway, Cool Tools 2023, looking forward to kicking that off this Friday, December 1st. In addition to that, a couple other little things. I did do a repost of my wintertime activities for kids. This is one that I've done for years, where I've pulled together 8 different googly activities that tie into wintertime in one way or another. So it's the infamous build a snowman activity with Google Slides. It's the decorate a holiday tree with Google Slides. It's the wintertime magnetic poetry with Google Drawings. It's the holiday greeting cards with Google Drawings. It's the 12 Days of Christmas guided Google Sheets math activity. It's the pixel art ornaments with Google Sheets. It's the wintertime emoji rebus stories with Google Docs. And it's the holiday lights writing with Google Docs. So 8 different activities using docs and sheets and drawings and slides, and they all tie in somewhat to wintertime type activities and holidays and so forth. They're not just busy work. Each one of these definitely is supporting things such as creativity, writing, and of course, computer skills, learning how to copy, paste, drag, drop, things like that. So for each one of these, the links will take you back to the original blog post I did on those, where you can get the templates and the directions and all the information on those. So please feel free to share and use those holiday wintertime activities. We already mentioned about OETC and FETC. I do have links to those posts again about what sessions I'll be doing there. I did do a real short post on Jamboard and how to import into FigJam. I think last month I had hosted 2 1-hour webinars all about FigJam. So if you want to get really deep into FigJam, those are linked in. There's a basics and an advanced webinar, each an hour long on FigJam. But one of the questions that came up during those was, well, can we take our old Jamboard files and convert them into FigJam? Because Jamboard will be shutting down at the end of 2024. And so we've got about a year to get this done, but well, we're going to have to find, some other option. And FigJam is a fantastic alternative for Jamboard. So very quick 2-minute video showing how to do that import, as well as some written directions here as well. It's a very painless process to be able to click the import button, grab your old Jamboard file, and have it converted over into a FigJam. All right. And then let's see, the last thing that I had was another webinar. This one was called Cyber Assist, using AI as your teaching assistant. And so this one, I did this as a 30-minute webinar. I did this as a part of the Curipod conference that they ran. Now, my webinar is not just Curipod specific. It's more general, just basically how can we as educators use AI to help us? How can it help save time, whether it's creating presentations, generating lessons, writing emails, providing feedback. We do absolutely take a look at Curipod, which was they were the sponsors for the conference. So we do cover Curipod, but we cover lots of other tools besides just Curipod. We look at things like, Conquer and Formative and Eduate and Magic School AI and Twee and Diffit, and also just lots of ideas on how to use just tools like Chat GPT and Bard and so forth to help with lots of daily tasks. So feel free to check that out. That's a 30-minute video, and will give you a lot of good ideas on how to save time using AI. So that's all of my stuff. Looks like if we scroll on down to the community, we had 2 things shared. Tom Mullaney, thanks so much for being here today, Tom. Tom had a recent blog post that he shared about what teachers should look for in collaborative apps. And so nice post here. I've looked through this earlier and really appreciated it, where Tom is saying, hey, listen, if we're trying to pick good collaborative apps for our students to be using, what are some of the things we should be looking for in them? And then he runs down through these with examples of that, whether it's real-time editing, being able to group and lock items, being able to provide comments while you're in the tool, being able to tag contributors, having live pointers, having embedded timers, being able to label contributions, being able to see contributions, having stamps and emoji reactions, having a version history to be able to track the changes. All of these are very valid and valuable features that we should be looking for in collaborative apps. And Tom does a great job of covering those. And then somebody shared about having some fun with Canva's image editing tools. I apologize. I'm not sure who shared this. I don't know who put this in. I don't see anybody's name with it. But Canva absolutely has some fantastic image editing tools. And this is apparently a Canva presentation where a few of these have been highlighted. This is that, the AI-powered magic media that's built into Canva, being able to generate images, but also edit images with the power of AI. So it looks like it's things like taking an image and stripping out the background so that you're able to then put that image on a new background. That's fantastic. That's great. Or things like taking a video and being able to, again, strip out the background so that now that video can be put on a different moving background there. Love that. How about taking items out? So in this case, the apple was removed from the image there. That's great. Here, a dog was replaced by a tiger. Love it. Not sure what this one is.
Let me regale thee with the tale of my own existence.
Very nice. Being able to have a image speaking. That's fantastic. And then here we have a nice picture of somebody tossing their child up in the air and then, oops, too far. So being able to grab a piece of the image and resize that particular piece. So very good. So those are some excellent examples of showing the power of Canva's image editing tools. And again, Canva is free for schools. If you're not using it, you definitely need to include that into your toolbox of tools. Love it. That's fantastic. All right. So if you have anything else to share on community show and tell, please throw those in. But this will bring us to our last section of our meeting, which is Q&A. We will take a quick look at this, but then we'll go back through everything. So while we're doing that, if there's things you needed to ask or add, now is a good time to be doing that. And we'll take another pass through after to see if we missed anything. So we only ended up with one question today. Usually we get quite a few, but that's okay. We just have one question today. It says, has anyone noticed the new prompts for icon and text size when logging on to a shared classroom Chromebook? Is there a way to turn them off? So unfortunately, I have not seen this. This is not an issue that I've come across. And I do use a Chromebook frequently. But I know you're saying specifically, a shared classroom Chromebook. So I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to address this. Denny, Stephanie, have you seen on a managed Chromebook, a shared classroom Chromebook, when you go to log on, a prompt popping up asking about changing the icon or text size for the device? I have
not, but now I'm curious. So I may have to look into that.
Yeah. I looked. Oh, go ahead, Stephanie. Yeah.
I have not either.
Okay. So I went ahead in the meantime, while you guys were sharing, I saw that question. So I went onto the admin console. That's where I would figure if I could change it, I could find it. And I went into the device settings and I looked for anything that dealt with, text size, icon size. I mean, I understand the question because yes, on a Chromebook, you can go in and set like, I want everything at 100% or 150% or 200% or 75%. And it basically rescales things so that you can either see better if you need to make things bigger, or it can be smaller if you want to fit more in. So it's more of a global setting rather than pressing like, Control plus to zoom in on a page. This changes the entire global settings for your icon sizes and text sizes. So I do that on my Chromebook. I go in and I adjust that so that it, fits properly with what is best for me. I have not seen a Chromebook ask that question, though. I've not seen it pop up and say, do you want to change the icon size or the text size? And I didn't find anything in the admin console that said, turn this on or turn it off. So I'm sorry, I'm no help on this one at the moment. If anybody does have some feedback on it, though, please share. We would appreciate that. Michelle's asking if that's an accessibility feature. And it very likely may be. Yeah, it very likely may be. I know in the accessibility settings, there's a lot of things you can turn on or off by default. I'll go ahead and pull that up just to show you. Give me a second to get it pulled up on another screen, and then I will pull that over. So here we go. Get my admin console pulled over here. So yeah, if I'm into my admin console and I go to devices, Chrome settings, and I go to device settings, these are all the things you can control. So you can manage all of this stuff. There's so much. And yes, there's a section in here for accessibility. So right here, it's sign in screen accessibility. And basically what this means is before you log in. So these are the settings that apply when the Chromebook just boots up. So you can have, for example, spoken feedback turned on. You can have high contrast turned on, or the dictation or so forth. I'm not seeing here, though, something that would apply to that question. We've got select to speak. We've got the screen magnifier, the on-screen keyboard. We've got large mouse cursor. We've got, so that's the thing. I did not see anything in there that dealt specifically with choosing the icon size and the text size. So that's unfortunately where I'm at on that one. But if anybody does have something to add, please feel free to do so. All right. Well, that gets us to the end for our meeting here today. Denny, Stephanie, do you see anything in the comments that we missed? I'll do another pass through here as well. While you guys are taking a quick look, couple of quick announcements as we start to wrap up. Don't forget, if you did not sign in, on page 2 of the agenda is the link to the sign-in form. We would love for you to sign in so we know how many people attended, but also so that we can send you your certificate. And you can do that even if you're watching the recording. Totally fine. You can watch the recording and fill that out then as well. And again, a reminder that we will not have a meeting in December. Our next meeting will be in January. I believe it is the 31st, like the last day of January. Let's take a look again. It's always the last Wednesday of the month, typically. Yes, January 31st. So between now and then, I will put in the agenda link and the live video link and the calendar link for the January 31st meeting. All right. Stephanie, Denny, did you see anything that we missed?
I don't, but I totally agree with the GEG meetup in the event area.
Okay.
That was covered at the beginning, but I just want to say I agree.
All right. Well, let's see. Maybe we can get a sponsorship for it. Maybe, I don't know, somebody like Cami or somebody could if only we knew somebody with corporate connections. Maybe we could get a sponsorship for it. No, let's definitely toss around some ideas about a meetup at OETC. That'd be fantastic. All right. Well, again, thanks so much to everybody who joined us here today live, or if you watched the recording, whatever the case was, we really appreciate that you took time out of your day to learn with us. We look forward to getting back together again. But in the meantime, have a wonderful holiday season. Everybody take care, and we will see you again soon. Take care, everyone.
Bye all.